pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. You're
listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who That Nation, man. We in this thing representing the Coma. Big ups to the fam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this Monday stream. Big ups to the fam indeed. And fam, listen, man, the Saints making a few moves, trying to do a little something here. What's intriguing and interesting is that, they doing their due diligence and picking up some of these veterans. And I know some of these guys on the cheaper side of things, dealing with the salary cap that the Saints are currently dealing, but trying to find some type of depth, veteran wise, to kind of help out our defensive and offensive line. Y'all know that if the Saints don't handle their business on those lines, there's going to be issues. So I applaud them in doing that, trying to find some kind of help for these lines. So yesterday they signed an offensive lineman. Today they announced the signing of a defensive lineman, and today they announced the signing of both. So we'll cover that on this episode of the Coma. Shout out to the fam. Y'all, please feel free to give me a like from wherever platforms that you guys are representing. If you're on Twitter, please feel free to give me a retweet. If you're hitting up on Facebook, give me a like, as well as YouTube and the gram. Shout out to everybody, man, for being here. Now, listen, fam, we're going to talk about a little bit of that today. I'm not going to hold y'all very long on this episode. Sure, I still have some editing to do. But listen, I just think it's fantastic the Saints are handling their business in terms of trying to add some depth here, because this is definitely an area of concern for the Saints is the offensive line. Getting a guard with a lot of NFL experience is good, even though there are a lot of not so good grades on his pass blocking ability, which could be problematic. I was thinking more of Trey Turner could have been a guy that we had brought in, but unfortunately, Trey Turner seems not to be a thing at this current juncture of time. And we'll all see what happens moving forward, because a lot of stuff can happen between now and when things really start counting. You get what I'm talking about? All right, so big ups to the fam, y'all. Big ups to the fam, brother Gundams in this thing. OG Jerry, brother Torres in this thing. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Louisiana, man. Much love, brother. Appreciate you. L-Dub, shout out to you, man. Appreciate Pelicans. Nola was popping, fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream, man. And for the family members around the area, man, there's a real rough thunderstorm going on, fam. So if you hear a lot of noise in the background, that's what we're currently going through. A thunderstorm. So shout out to my Baton Rouge folk out there that's really catching hell right now. I hope you guys are all right. I heard about some of the stuff going on out there. I hope you guys are going to be fine. And shout out to the people around the area as well. This week is supposed to be a rainy week for us, so we just kind of buckle on in and just let it do what it do. All right, anyway, Booker, shout out to you, Booker. Good to see you in the live, man. Bronze, shout out to Bronze. Brother Robert, how you doing, fam? Appreciate you As well. Okay, storming out there in Gulfport. Yeah, OGI. Yeah, y'all getting it too out there, man. So y'all out there be safe, my brother, as well, man. Yeah, we getting a real terrible line of thunderstorms through the area right now, man. So y'all buckle down, man, and we'll make it through this thing. All right. So anyway, and like I said, as we get ready to get going in this thing, what's poppin', Elite? Man, listen. All I can say, let's go over some of the news notes here. Right here covered, and Niles wrote this article. I don't know when he submitted it. I think it was sometime today, maybe over the last hour or so. Quavadia, shout out to you, man. DJ Twigger says storming in Jackson. Oh, really? It's way up there? Wow, bro. DJ Twigger said it's storming in Jackson too. Yeah, it's rough bunch of storms going on right now. All right, so shout out to Niles Carpenter, our Saints contributor, man, and the whothatdaily.com. We've been doing that for like 4 or 5 years. I forget how long. And ultimately, it's been popping and growing, man. We just got on an entertainment contributor to the site, and things are popping and snapping. And like I said, man, it's all because of the family member support and financial contributions, man. We're able to put together a pretty solid situation, man, and have our voice, just not just a platform or a YouTube channel. Basically, we created a movement, and that's pretty much what it is. And a lot of family members who are part of the movement, man, it became a springboard for other people to create platforms. So they create the independent media, and that's what it's supposed to be. They supposed to have their media, and we supposed to have our media, and you supposed to know the difference. And you supposed to support the independent media twice as hard as you do the non-independent media. That you are the line, you are the blood, you are everything to the independent media. So when you see sites like the whothatdaily.com and others who are independent, strong sites, you get behind them and you put them up on your shoulders and you lift them up. And that's what we do, because it's all about us. Trust me, it is, fam. Trust me, it's all about us, man. We are the voice of the people. We represent you guys. So we walk in league with the family. So y'all, please remember that as we move forward, because you're making some noise over here. All right, so big ups to the fam, man. Appreciate you. Ultimate Streams TV, shout out to you, man. How you doing, fam? Appreciate you as well. Brother Taylor says, Q, when you going to make another Saint? I don't know, brother. That one been rocking, man. I don't know how long it's been, a couple of years now since Sway did that. But listen, man, it's been popping, man. We've been popping with it for a while, brother. You never know, man. You never know. We might come out with some type of collection of songs representing the Who That Nation and stuff like. You never know with me, man. When I get something popping, bro, I get it going, man. I won't stop till I get it going. But anyway, let's get into this article right here. Shout out to Niles Carpenter, our Saints contributor. Saints announced signing of 2 veteran linemen. And those 2 veteran linemen, of course, one of them we announced yesterday. Saints bolstered their lineup with the addition of 2 seasoned linemen, as announced by Executive Vice President, General Manager, Slick Mickey Loomis. The Saints have signed offensive lineman Lucas Patrick and defensive tackle Kendal Vickers to 1-year deals. So also then a corresponding move was they waived nose tackle John Pennicini, who got very little playing time, mostly a practice squad DT. And of course, they talk about Lucas Patrick, who's 6'3", about 300 plus pounds, 7-year NFL veteran who began his career with the Packers and was undrafted from Duke back in 2016. So, and we covered some of his stuff yesterday. Throughout his career, had some versatility, appearing in 96 regular season games with 54 starts at both guard positions, and played the center position for the Packers and the Bears. So Patrick showcased skills are reliable as a center for the Bears, and starting 15, 16 games that he played. So that versatility is warranted, because the Saints could use a backup center. We really could use a backup center if something was to happen with McCoy. And of course, the Saints at one time did believe that Cesar Ruiz would shift to center if something happened to McCoy. But, ultimately, I think they probably would feel what they used to feel that way, probably keep him at guard, because he had some difficulties doing what the hell he was supposed to do at guard. He had that a couple of years ago. He had a pretty solid year. Last year, Cesar Ruiz wasn't all that, man, to be honest with you, man. He really wasn't. But a lot of the Saints offensive linemen weren't all that. And I'm kind of looking at it and saying, man, that was Doug Marrone. That was pretty much Doug Marrone. When you see all of them, I ain't going to say they was stinking, but McCoy probably was probably without Ramczyk and all his injuries, probably the most solid veteran we have would be Eric McCoy. But Eric McCoy, like I joked last year, Eric McCoy spent a lot of time. Well, I still joke about it this year. He spent a lot of time on the damn grass. And I would say that he was a landscaper. He must have he must have bought some stock in some landscape company somewhere and start investigating, how, to cut grass precisely, because he spent a lot of time on that damn grass during them games, man. I never seen Eric McCoy on the grass so much, boy. I guess he was getting in contact with nature. He must have been doing something. Yeah, but he wasn't playing football, that for damn sure. Anyway, man, let's keep it bucking and moving, man. Kendal Vickers, who's a defensive tackle, measuring 6'3", 300 pounds, brings 3 years of NFL experience to the Saints, initially signed by the Steelers as an undrafted free agent from Tennessee back in 2018. Vickers joins the Saints after a successful trial during the team's rookie minicamp. And throughout his career, he participated in 26 games with 2 starts, contributing to 22 tackles, 10 of which were solo, 2 sacks for the Raiders in a couple of years. And, of course, he had that Raider lineage, baby. He has that Raider lineage. That's all you need to be a Raider dude that was with the Raiders over the last 4 to 5 years, and you got a job with the Saints. And the Buffalo Bills back in 2023, Vickers' addition aims to strengthen the Saints' defensive front. And, of course, you see what Niles did. He put a mini depth chart right there so people can see where these guys could fit in. And he also highlighted them for people to tell. So as you can see, Lucas Patrick got a position behind Eric McCoy as the backup center. And like they say, he played both guard positions, which he can probably in a pinch. So this lineup that he has right here, Fuaga, Ali Udo, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Ryan Ramczyk. Like I said, I don't think Ram plays this year. I mean, if he does, hopefully he's close to, say he's going to be 100%, but it'll be difficult for him. But I'm saying that he doesn't play this year. And ultimately, I do think the opposite tackle position will be Trevor Penning. And I know a lot of people are not keen on Penning because he really hadn't shown us a lot. But in the end, you got to still value the pick. And I was telling people's like, Q, we need to trade Trevor Penning. I was telling them, man, listen, Mickey Loomis would not dare give you that ammunition, about how poor, if he's drafting poorly, he wouldn't dare give you that. He wouldn't trade Trevor Penning so you can criticize him further about his drafting. He wouldn't do that. I told y'all that. And it's like, well, how you know that? Because I know the personalities and the psyches of these people. I know that I've studied these people, man. I've listened to them for a long time, and I know what time it is. Plus, I understand the game. I understand the game of football. I understand the politic game. I understand the economic game. I understand the social game. I understand many different games, all wrapped up like an onion in one, all operating simultaneously. And I understand that philosophy. That's how I'm able to kind of draw from it. I'm not always right, but a great deal of the time I am right. I'm just going, I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but the proof is in the pudding. Like I like to tell my dog DC, the proof is in the plantain pudding. You see what I'm talking about? But anyway, like I said, here's the positions here at the left tackle position, Talisi Fuaga. And I said that. I said, listen, man, don't put Trevor Penning. And it's commonsensical to me because Trevor Penning failed at the left tackle position. When they drafted Trevor Penning, I was saying don't put him there. I've seen everything happen. I've seen how it was going to play out. And I was like, don't do that. Don't put him at the blindside tackle position. And then, of course, the head coaches came out and said, man, it don't matter. He could play the position, and he crashed and burned. I was telling them, don't do that, fam. Don't do that. Don't do that. Why isn't Ramczyk over there? And then, of course, a couple of years later, we find out that Ramczyk, they didn't shift him. And they didn't come out and say this, of course, but you know why. If you pay a man all that money and he was having these issues, but they did not tell you how bad these injuries was until about a year ago, and then really strong this year when they couldn't hide it anymore, that the injuries were not only reoccurring and they were bad, but they were also career threatening. That was really when they started using career threatening this year. And when you seen that happen, then you understood and say, well, that's what happened. That's why this guy wasn't put over there at that position. That's why they tried to save him at the right tackle position, as opposed to put him at the left tackle position where his money and where he's the best tackle should be, on the blind side of the quarterback. So at this point, the Saints, Penning had a dramatic fall at that tackle position. I was saying, don't you dare put Penning at that left tackle position again. Give him a fresh position reset mentally, because he was complaining about confidence issues prior to them doing that to him. So like I said, when you have young players, you have to be very careful about how you deal with them and what you give to them. You can't give these guys too much or more than what they can handle or what they consume. You see what I'm saying? That's a part of being a good head coach. You don't just throw him in there and then he crash and burns. Then you don't be patient with him in the end and say, well, listen, it was a little bit much, but let's dial him back. And when we get a chance, we're going to kind of put him in there. If somebody get hurt, let's leak him in there, put him in there. If we need an extra blocker, let's throw him in there, put him in there. That type of stuff. They ain't do none of that. They just buried them and smushed them down on the active roster. And then all of a sudden, now they're going to say, hey, Trevor Penning, how you doing? You ready to play starter in the NFL again? And he's like, yeah. So I mean, it's a delicate balance, man, when you're dealing with that sort of thing. You can't treat these players like that. You got to know what they can handle. And that's up to the head coaches, the assistant coaches, to figure out, hey, man, that might be a little too much for this guy to handle. We might want to take it easy on him and make him do this, that, and the third. Let's lean on my veteran a little bit, put his ass over at the blind side position. We paying him all this money. Why not? But in the end, like I said, I like how this lines up, because one way or the other, you can't get away from the young tackle. And really, you look at what Penning did at the left tackle position, which is nothing to brag about. He was quite atrocious. And what he was doing, I guess it counts as some sort of experience on what not to do. But a new offensive line coach does bring new hope to the position. So as it stands going into the season, I think the front five, as it stands right now, should be Fuaga at the blind side, Ali Udoh, because Udoh is basically, when they signed him before Hurst retired, Ali Udoh was a guy that they have experience with, like Andrew Janoko and all these guys. They got experience with him with this system. So they figured that he'll have a familiarity with the system and can come out and kind of help everybody, figure it out. So he has a little lead insofar as that goes in terms of playing in the system. So he's the left guard right there. He basically becomes what Hurst was when Hurst first signed. And that's really what they compared him to when they brought him in here. Now, he's not a tackle. He's more of a guard. I like him at the guard position. And then there's McCoy, then there's Cesar Ruiz. And then on the opposite side, I don't think Ram would be good this year, and Penning would operate the opposite side. Now, things could be upset a bit if Landon Young decides, hey, man, I want to step up and show y'all something. And, Landon Young step up and say, I'm ready to play, because Landon Young been here for a while. I think this is the last year on his contract. And he need to show people what he can do, to be quite honest with you. So, I mean, you can see there's a couple of the guys on the backup tips right here. And you can see Lucas Patrick right there penciled in as the backup for Eric McCoy, and possibly he could serve as a guard there. And of course, I'm not going to leave out Shane Lemieux, but he's a guy that's has some positive stuff happening for him in terms of his football, but can't keep healthy. And until he can dig in and show people that he can be counted on, it's just a positive thought. And of course, he puts the defensive players right here. When you talk about Kendal Vickers, he got him listed in as an interior defensive tackle position. And basically, it's where Pinicini, the former nose tackle, was. He's positioned there, Kendal Vickers. So you can see the Saints are kind of adding some veteran depth right there to both lines, and you can't, and that's a positive. And like I said, man, I just feel like the Saints defense, if we look at and if I ask the family members or poll the family members and say, hey, which unit of the Saints is better? A lot of people would say the defense, Q, the defense, the defense, the defense, the defense, because all of the moves that the Saints have made to fortify the defense. Some of these guys get healthy, like a Chase Young and Carl Granderson is exciting to me. Chase Young and a healthy Chase Young off of neck surgery, if he, and Carl Granderson, that's probably the most athletic defensive combination we had here in a while. Is, perhaps since when Cam was a younger Cam and Junior Gillette, perhaps a young Cam and Trey Hendrickson in his last year. Maybe pretty much young, probably more athletic than that. I guess I could say probably Cam and Junior probably was the last time we seen that. But Carl Granderson, because Carl's 6'5" and Chase is like 6'5". Those two dudes firing off the end, man, that's just exciting to me, bro. They'll have those dudes because then both of them, they can rush the passer and they both can play the run. So if you got a mobile quarterback, he ain't going to be getting away from them type of dudes, man. They're not. And then, of course, I like the Saints, what they've done interiorly speaking with the defensive line this year, adding Chase Young there, putting Cam in a reserve role to keep him fresh. And then don't think about it, Cam can also act as a pass rusher. You need him. He can move inside too. You can rush him from inside. Don't forget the Saints do like to utilize the NASCAR package, all that kind of stuff. When they throw those guys out there, try to get the best pass rushers out there at the same time. So Cam could be utilized in that way. And plus, I do think Brian Bresee is going to have a maturation. He's going to step up here in the second year. Christian Boyd was a huge pickup, and he's an upgrade over Malcolm Roach. I love the Christian Boyd signing because he's a big guy that plays the run, but also provides a push. And then what you have is several different interior people that are big and athletic. So I like what the Saints have done defensive line wise, and even with some of the moves, like with the Willie Gay situation, getting Willie Gay here, and then saying Willie Gay will be a person that would challenge Pete Werner for the linebacker. But when I heard him say that, I was like, wow, okay, cool. That sounds interesting. Because I wasn't thinking they doing that. I thought they was feeling pretty good about Pete Werner there. But Pete Werner is a very high IQ player. Demario Davis is super high IQ, but these guys are limited athletically, especially when you look at Demario getting older, he's not as spry as he used to be. And that's a part of nature. But if you add Willie Gay there next to Demario Davis, and Willie Gay is super fast, super athletic, that changes the dynamic of the Saints defense. Those guys are healthy. The Saints defense has gotten ridiculously faster with Willie Gay and with Chase Young. That is ridiculous. And then Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Willie Gay. And then, of course, you look at, I think, probably the thing that I've been talking about on the previous stream, the only thing I think that the Saints defense will lose is Marshawn Lattimore. And that's probably going to be something that happens, like I said, between June the 1st and the start of the season. No doubt about it, in my mind, they're going to trade Laddie Daddy. No doubt about it. They're going to trade him. The contract is there. They rework the contract where the money falls on the team that's trading them. They get about $15 million back in cap relief for this year after the trade, and another 11 next year with the trade for him. And not to mention the replacement they think for him, they drafted with Kool-Aid McKinstry. So all three factors are there. And plus the Saints are not actively, we're not actively looking to trade Lattimore. We're not looking for that right now. But inactively, we're looking to trade the hell out of them. Let me tell you, you ain't got to read between the lines with me, buddy. Let me tell you. Yeah, you damn right. Because they're not actively looking to trade him, but they inactively trying to trade his ass. You get what I'm talking about? But anyway, that's some of it. Shout out to Niles, man. Y'all check out the whothatdaily.com. We in the building with that, man. We appreciate y'all being in the stream. All right, like I said, we have under a storm, so we're going to try to move this thing along. But anyway, like I said, fam, let's go on to the next thing here I want to talk about. And that is, like, if y'all feel free to answer the questions in the, we got a poll up in the comment section, the chat. about how many wins you guys think the Saints are going to win. So if you guys in here, we got 100 plus strong in the building. Y'all please feel free to hit that poll up, man, and let me know what y'all think. All right, so anyway, let's move on to this. And this is coming out soon. This is supposed to be dropping on the 15th. I want to say this is a couple of days from now. They'll have the actual full schedule release for the New Orleans Saints. And of course, these are the 2024 opponents. The home games, we know who we playing at, where we're playing them in terms of home and away, but the particulars of who's week 1 and who's going to be Monday night, who's Thursday night, if there's a European game in there or whatever. I don't think there'll be a European game, but all that stuff is going on. So as you can see at home, you see Falcons, of course, the Falcons, Panthers, and the Bucks. That's just a given. We got the Browns with Jameis. We got Sean Payton coming back home. That'll be exciting. We got the Raiders. We got half their team on the team anyway, so can we beat them? The Rams, get a little revenge on the Rams. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts, we hadn't beat them. Well, actually, we did beat the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts was hurt, and we beat Gardner Minshew. That was a couple of years ago, so that's the last time we beat Philadelphia when Jalen Hurts wasn't in the game. But every time Jalen Hurts played, when we did play the Eagles, he's beaten us. And of course, we have the Washington Commanders coming to town with Jaden Daniels. So that's going to be interesting. Then the away schedule, same team, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks away. And then we go to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. We'll see about the Green Bay Packers away as well. The Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes boys, the Giants, and then the Chargers led by Harbaugh, who's a new coach out there. We got to go out there and take on him. So do you guys see 10 games there is what I'm talking about? Do you guys see 10 wins amongst these games? You know what I'm saying? And I would say, man, listen, man, we're going to take down we're going to beat the, realistically speaking, I got to see a little bit more, but it'll be tough kind of calling it right now. But I'm a kind of leave it to the family members, man. And y'all tell me, do y'all see 10 wins realistically? 10, because that's what you're going to need to get the division and lock up a playoff spot unless things get dramatic. You're going to need 10 wins. And probably the first 10 in the NFC South is more than likely going to win. So if the Saints can win 10 games, or if not 9 games, and fight for a wild card on the back end, which I really don't want to see that. I think they need to kind of claim that and get it done. And a lot of that's pretty much predicated on whether or not what happens with Clint Kubiak, who had a good vibe to start his tenure here with the Saints during the rookie minicamp. And even though that was just a day or two of them getting it together, but the energy was good, and hopefully we can kind of lead that energy into the rest of these camps, because anytime any of the players, and I would caution all of our veterans on the offensive side of the ball to please, any involuntary situations that you're gonna have some of these involuntary situations. I really am asking the players, offensively speaking, to attend these involuntary camps, because when you start putting in a new system, you're going to need guys to show up, and guys involuntary, because they're going to have to figure this stuff out. And any time that you can get in there, when you can get some participation done with coaches, new coaches, and players, take it, because that's going to be the point right there. We're going to need that. But 10 wins, do you guys see 10 wins here? The Browns are not pushovers. Sean Payton do have a rookie quarterback there. That might be a dub. The Raiders have Antonio Pierce. He's going to have them fighting. I don't think we sweep the Falcons. I think we split with the Falcons this year. We could beat Carolina. We could sweep Carolina, because even though I don't think Carolina going to win, they won like 2 games last year. 1 game, I forget what it was, 1 or 2 games. I think they win way more than that, but I still think the Saints could sweep Carolina. And that's the only team. No disrespect to my dogs, Dave and Rashad. And of course, the Buccaneers. I think the Saints split with the Bucks this year as well. So if any team, and of course I'm gonna have to see more. I think more than likely, if we do sweep, more than likely it can probably be Carolina. But we'll see. And of course the Rams, I think We'll see what's happening with the Rams. The Eagles is going to be difficult. Washington, I could say Washington, but I remember the last time we had a rookie quarterback we took on that was at Washington. That was RG3, and he ran the Saints all around the you know what I'm saying? He ran the Saints through the ringer. And Jaden Daniels is way better than RG3 in my book. And then, of course, the away games, Dallas is going to be difficult going up there to take them on. Green Bay was difficult. We had them and let them loose. Could we get some revenge there? Kansas City, you know what time it is with Pat Mahomes, boys. The Giants are still an enigma. And Harbaugh and the Chargers are going to be difficult. So do I see 10 games there? I don't know, fam. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and it really depends on the state of what the offense is going to be moving forward. And like I said, it's who comes to play. The Saints have a lot of talent. And like I said, I got faith in Clint Kubiak. I know the defense is going to be strong this year with all those players I talked about. Like I said, but the only minus to the defense, if we can keep Laddie Daddy, the Saints defense will be probably a top 5 unit. But we looking, they probably going to end up trading Laddie Daddy. I don't know what they're going to trade him for. More than likely, you know, if they could, they probably would try to trade him for a pick and send him to a team and then acquire the money. That's, you know, I don't think they're going to trade player for player. I think it's probably going to be him for a pick, and that way they can keep the money some kind of way. You see what I'm talking about? So we'll see how it all shakes and goes, man. But I really gave the timeline there on that kind of stuff. All right. All right, and let's keep it going, family. Y'all ask y'all questions, please. Put Q next to it, man, with your question so that I could tell the difference between that and the comment in the comment section. Let's start doing that. Let's make that a viable and positive change to the chat. If you got a question, put Q next to the question and then ask the question. That way I can differentiate by just looking at first glance. You tell the difference between just a regular comment and a question. That right there would be a good move there. All right, so let's move on to the next one right here. And this is the final one we'll talk about. This is an article from Bleacher Report that says QBs will be under the most pressure entering the 2024 season. And they got Daniel Jones up there. This is by Maurice Mouton. And he basically gives, like it says, the list of the quarterbacks under the most pressure. And as you kind of go right on down, it says in the offseason, the most NFL teams will either build around a quarterback or acquire one to lead the franchise for the long term. And we've seen 6 quarterbacks come off in the first round of this past year's draft, this season's draft. 6 quarterbacks in the top 11 picks. A lot of people thought there would be like 5. I thought there would be like 5 or 6 in the first round. I didn't know they'll be all clumped together in the top 11 picks. Now, that's something I don't think a lot of people anticipated. So, you know, this is a quarterback driven league. You have to have a play caller that is competent to win in this league. You really do. People understand that, and a lot of these teams compiled and got them one in the draft. So anyway, when a team shows interest in a signal caller who's not on the roster, the incumbent starter can feel his seat get hot and hear the clock ticking on his tenure with the organization. Typically, quarterbacks under the most pressure have a young upstart playing behind them on the depth chart or an expiring contract. With that in mind, let's discuss 7 QBs who will enter the 2024 season under the most pressure to keep their jobs or solidify themselves as starters. So who you think the first guy is of the list? Is Derek Carr. Hey, Mr. Carr. Derek Carr of the New Orleans Saints leads the list. Why do you say that? In 2023, the Saints signed Derek Carr to a 4-year, $150 million contract. Thanks a lot, Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen, and gave him no trade clause. In his first season with the team, he threw for almost 3,900 yards with 25 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. While the 33-year-old seems like he's a stable situation with job security, his 24 performance can have a major impact on his short-term outlook with the team. Why do you say that? Well, the article is not going to tell you that, but the reason why it could be a short-term outlook is because if he doesn't perform up to snuff and the Saints don't win this year, Dennis Allen will be fired. Dennis Allen ain't going to make it into another year of 4 years of non-playoff football is not going to be accounted for. Mickey Loomis has done everything he can to protect Dennis Allen. He doesn't criticize him at all, even though he does all this weird shit. He doesn't criticize him, doesn't criticize nothing he do when the team fails. They blame injuries or they come up with weird ass things that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Just totally ridiculous. No accountability, just stupidity all over the place. You know, who's not at fault if it's not the head coach of the team and you got talent? Who's not at fault here? Never the head coach though. And Mickey Loomis ain't no disciplinarian anyway. He don't know. He ain't gonna go and tell his coach anything. He don't. His measurement is, well, I just lead the goddamn guys along. I go close my door. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, I got a refrigerator in my office, and listen, I ain't got a refrigerator and clam chowder, Boston style clam chowder. I got a Zatarans in there, and I just take it out and I put the Zatarans in the clam chowder. I go to work, and I got some gourmet orange juice. So I have my gourmet orange juice, my clam chowder. I go to work. Leave me alone. Leave me the hell alone. But you know, that's his measurement. His style is to let you go and do your thing. And if you sink the ship and run it up against the Titanic, he'll come out and spin you know, the fact that Bill Belichick and Bill Walsh, they ran these ships into the Titanic before, and he's got all this foolishness. This is crazy. But anyway, while he says this offseason, the Saints have hired offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak to replace Pete Carmichael Jr., which indicated dissatisfaction with the offense despite Carr's passing numbers. Now let's stop right there, and this is where the great Saint think tank gets busy with it breaking some shit down. Now let's kind of peek into that paragraph right there. You know, the Pete Carmichael part, which indicated dissatisfaction with offense despite Carr's passing numbers. The reality of it is they allowed Pete Carmichael to be the offensive coordinator for the entire year, even though he did not deserve to be the offensive coordinator for the entire year. He deserved it to be demoted or his position switched up by using his passing game coordinator to come in there and say, hey, man, let's kind of switch this around. Let him call the plays for a little bit. Let's see how everything responds. You know, let's change up some stuff here with this offensive line. Let's let Jari kind of run things for a little bit, Doug. You know, and then none of those assistant coaches was then say, you know what, this is a damn shame. You can't do me this. No, because they were both failing. The offense wasn't blocking well. Pete Carmichael's calling was vanilla, and he wasn't getting anything done. It was just ridiculous. And no change happened. Dennis Allen didn't touch it. Now, despite the fact, like I said this before, there were several times during the season when the great Saint think tank and the entire Who Dat Nation was pushing for Dennis Allen to force change on the offensive side of the ball, which means to either change up the offensive coordinator by having Curry to call the plays or do something with Doug Marrone. Let Jari Evans do his thing. Give him more power if you needed to raise them up and have something, do something. He didn't do a damn thing the whole year. And then when the offense, you know, finally got going, it was too late. And then at the end, he scapegoat Pete Carmichael. That's what happened. He's not and that's the problem I have with Dennis Allen. You don't sit on your ass for an entire year and watch the offense stink, literally watch the offense stink and struggle, and then don't do nothing about it, and you're the head coach. And you had people 3 times during the year having him coming out and say, we're going to make some changes. We're going to make some changes. We're going to make some changes, and don't do a damn thing till the season is over with. Then he fires Pete Carmichael. He scapegoated the man. He scapegoated him. You can't do that, man. If Dennis Allen if he's going to improve as a head coach, when he sees stuff looking crazy on that side of the ball, you get your sashaying ass over there and do something about it. And if you too scared, send one of your send an assistant over there. Tell him, hey, go tell that guy over there that I'm giving the job to somebody else, because you know you're not confrontational. I seen how you handle Arthur Smith. You won't grip his belly when a man cussing at you. Ain't no grown ass man gonna cuss at me, and I'm gonna touch on his belly. Say, calm down, man. Calm down. Are you kidding me? You know, whatever. If you had good intentions and the guy coming at you, cursing at you, that go out the window. Take a note from Darren Rizzi and grow some balls. Why don't you? Sheesh. Still hot about that. You know what I'm saying, fam? How dare you? Guy cursing at, well, you know, let me go apologize to this guy because that was wrong. Then this son bitch come out, he cursing at you, and then you're like, calm down, guy. You're right, man. Shut up, Dennis Allen. You know, But it's just ridiculous, man, on its face. But this is one of the problems I have with Dennis Allen, because at the end of the year, see, I remember what they say. He came out at the end of the year and said he was pissed about how the season went. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? This is the same bastard that had every chance to change things around, and he sat on his ass for the entire season, didn't change nothing, then got the nerve to tell us at the end of the year, hey man, I'm pissed about the season." Now, how many stinking, disgusting, awful, rotten, ungodly, unconscionable, unfathomable, ridiculous, back ass, cowardly, stinking ass losses that we had to endure? Not one time did that effing guy tell you or me, "You know what, New Orleans, I apologize to you." But he gonna apologize to the Falcons coach? He didn't tell your ass he's sorry for not one damn loss that he had for all these stinking ass years he been here. But he gonna apologize to the Falcons coach? Really? Yeah. Oh yeah. And then, of course, secondly, the Saints have taken a quarterback in the middle rounds of the last two drafts. They took Hayner in the 4th round last year and Spencer Rattler in the 5th round this year. With two young quarterbacks behind him on the depth chart, Carr may be looking over his shoulder after poor performances in upcoming season. Don't you bet on it. And I'm going to tell you one good reason why he ain't worrying about guys over his shoulder. I'm going to tell you one big old reason. It's $150 million. And another reason is Dennis Allen. That's his boy. That's Dennis Allen's boy. Dennis Allen tried to trade for him. He didn't want to come here. He wanted to go to the open market. Nobody was going to give him that kind of money. Dennis Allen was, here, take this blank check and write whatever you want on that. You think Dennis Allen going to bench his guy? Man, please, man. You're not dealing with a head coach that thinks logically. You're not dealing with that type of person, man. You're not dealing with that. That's why we got mixed results here, because he don't follow football principles all the time. It's very weird and odd watching Dennis Allen. Traditional football concepts that you can't even debate on because they're time tested. Oh, that's overrated. And I'm like, every time he says something's overrated, it's just he's making some dumb comparison about something. Like he made the comparison about the tackles. Oh, that the left tackle and the right tackle, it don't really matter. That's overrated. What are you talking about? No, it's not. We're gonna see how overrated it is. You got two young offensive tackles that got to protect your 33-year-old quarterback that spent 2 months after the end of the season not doing anything so he can rehab what he called 3 broken ribs and a tore-up shoulder. We covered that in the previous stream. He said it took him 2 months after the season where he didn't do nothing, that he had to rehab from his injuries during the season. And the man asked him in the article, well, how you was able to play with all this and you couldn't do it all season? Let's just say the wonders of chemistry. What? And the man's like the wonders of chemistry or some nonsense. No. You just pumped you up with the painkiller. And we knew they was pumping up with painkiller because if his eyes was any buckier, they would have came out his goddamn head. Remember, I was pinpointing, look at this guy. This guy don't even know what planet he on right now. And he out there looking, and I felt, you know what? And I feel bad for that dude, man, after fight. Because I was looking, I saw this dude pumped up on painkillers. Eyes bucking all out of his head, scared half to death. Man, that boy gave a whole new definition to the deer in the headlight look. His eyes bucking out of his head, scared as hell. Terrible. He says, though the 4-time Pro Bowler has a no trade clause, the Saints can designate him as a post. That's not going to happen. June 1st cut and save $30 million in cap space next offseason per over the cap. Saints not going to do that. Even with Dennis Allen not on the team, the Saints ain't going to put that guy in the street. And Mickey Loomis is not going to let that happen. Now, if there was another general manager that came in and took the job from Mickey Loomis, I would consider that. But it's because I know Mickey Loomis and I know Dennis Allen. I know these guys are not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Remember, in 2023 offseason, the Raiders cut Carr to save cap space, even though they had a no trade clause with him. They was done with him at that point, and they didn't want him to get hurt. We know they benched him so they could try to trade him. They couldn't trade him, so ended up putting him in the street because nobody would take they didn't want Carr. Only team that really wanted Derek Carr was the Saints and Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen seen something in Derek Carr that very few people around the league seen. You know, he fancies him as that guy. And perhaps in the correct system, he can be that guy. You know, I'm not going to tell you no wrong. I think he can be that guy with play action. He has to become play action Carr to get that. Anyway, let's keep it going. New Orleans has missed the playoffs in Allen's 2 years as the head coach. And if the Saints don't clinch a 2024 postseason berth, he may lose his job, which may cloud Carr's future with the team. Because he says, because quarterback's performance has significant impact on a team's success, he can strengthen or weaken head coach Dennis Allen. If he plays well, it strengthens Dennis Allen's job. Now, like I said, the version that I've seen since I've seen Carr play here that works is play action Carr. I keep saying the same damn thing. It's play action Carr. Carr has to be he has to be a complement quarterback at this stage. He's 10 years deep in a game. What you see from Derek Carr is what you're going to get. You're not going to see anything. He's already ceilinged out. He's not going to get even higher or better than what he is unless you have a taskmaster head coach or QB coach or offensive coordinator that's on his back to force him to look out for things that he's not supposed to do, like give him a clock in his head, like teach him to stop staring down the side of the field. If you got a guy like that, then you'll get a little bit more out of Derek Carr, because that's what Chucky was. Chucky would cuss at him and fuss at him, and he would stay on his throat. And that's why he performed better when Chucky was there versus anybody else. But you need a taskmaster for a Carr, and I don't like that. Come to think about it, because you're making $150 million, you should be able to motivate your own goddamn self. You shouldn't need a taskmaster. You should be the first in the building, the last one to leave, you know, that kind of stuff. And don't make no excuses. Anything bad happens with the team is my fault. If you do even have a solid game, give it to your team. That's what's called for. That's what it is. And what does he get? He get $150 million goddamn dollars. That's what he get. So Carr developed a great relationship with Allen during a time with the Raiders in 2014. He drafted the man. If the Saints dump the coach, the new regime may also go in another direction at quarterback, unless the new regime don't include Mickey Loomis as the general manager. And like I said, and listen, I'm not just talking just to talk. Many people listen to the show know when I talk hierarchy with the Saints, I'm talking truth talk. I'm talking that real deal. And nobody could dispute me on that, because it's facts. When I start talking about Dennis Lucia, which is the president of football operations for the New Orleans Saints, the guy that know football like that. You need a guy that knows football. Now, like Dennis Lucia as a businessman, because he makes some money. He's a good businessman. But at the end of the day, you need more than a businessman. We're talking football on the field. We need somebody that's high up there, that's a decision maker, and that's a person that knows football at that level, and that need to move and understand that because the Saints are an older team when you get above the assistant general manager, which is Kai Hartley. They're an older team. You got Mickey in his 60s. You got Gail, how old she is, and you got Dennis Lucia. Man, let me tell you something. That's not Mickey Loomis. I'm uncomfortable with Mickey Loomis being the biggest football brain in the building. I'm uncomfortable with that. I really am uncomfortable. If it's not, I'm really uncomfortable with that, because if he had good decision making, he would take the general manager job and give it to a younger person who's qualified. And Kai Hartley's qualified. Or even if he gave it to Jeff Ireland, I would respect that, because at least Jeff Ireland is a guy that understands the game. You know, I would be even cool with that. It's just as long as it's not the same person. We need multiple people up there, not just that, but people that's willing to pull the trigger on decisions, to understand, hey, man, we've been banking out and making money. It's time to give these people a winning product. They're not going to take this no more. You're going to start losing money. They're already saying that they ain't going to show up at the games because you stupidly out here protecting dumbasses and you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. And they clearly see what you're doing. They're not buying your bullshit. Elaine, they're not listening to us. They're not listening. There's the guy and Big Q and Jerry and Tori and everybody. Those guys over there, man, they're letting us have it every night. They're telling us, man, I'm old and I can't be a VP and a general manager, but goddamn it, I'm gonna be there for 10 years. You can't do that, man. You can't sit up here on your ass talking about you're gonna be the VP for 10 years. Are you kidding me? I mean, you're gonna be buying all them damn tickets by yourself. That's what's gonna end up happening, because you don't have it anymore, my man. And it's okay because it happens. Sometimes the game passes us all by. At some point, it passes us by. It's just what it is, especially if you plan it or whether you were in there as a general manager. And hell, listen, remember Ozzie, what was it? Ozzie Newsome? But y'all remember the great Ozzie Newsome, who was the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens for years. One of the greatest general managers that ever was. And he did a lot. He made the Baltimore Ravens a solid. He always came through with solid drafts. He always brought in really good players. He made a handful of mistakes, but he was always thorough in keeping them relevant. And every damn year, Baltimore was in the playoffs, fighting. They might not have won the Super Bowl, but they were competing every year. Every year they were there competing. Every damn year. And the game passed him by. He retired. So who is this guy? Who the hell is this guy? Now he couldn't carry Ozzie's damn dinner lunches. He couldn't carry his briefcase. So yeah, man. Crazy. But anyway, that's the article right there, man. Listen, I'm gonna get ready to get on up out of here. Let me hit up the list right quick and see if the family members have any questions before I get on up out of here, man. I just want to talk to y'all about this. Charles says, to be honest, Q, I see 11 wins. If we play up to the personnel we have, we should sweep the South. Well, like I said, bro, I appreciate your confidence. I just don't, I need to see more, from the team because, like I said, I done lost faith in many aspects of this team because they don't operate the way a football organization should operate. They're not accountable. Nobody's evaluating anybody at the top levels. I know for a fact Dennis Lucia does not evaluate Mickey Loomis because when they did the interviews with Dennis Lucia early this year in the offseason, he said Mickey Loomis was doing a great job. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The man we ain't been in the playoffs in 3 goddamn years. You talking about he's doing what part of great are you talking about, man? But you got to see where he coming. He talking about money. See, he could just keep promising you stuff and never deliver. And that's the worst thing you can do to people is keep sitting up here and promising them something, lying to them, well, we're going to do this and do that, and then fall short. They come up with a bunch of excuses. We're done with that, man. So if you don't like the monster that you hear talking to you, well, you know what? Take goddamn credit because you created this. You created who this is, who you listening to right now, buddy. You created them. You created them. And we've seen the game over and over and over again. And we tired of playing it. We tired of playing this bullshit. Give us a good product or get your ass up off that seat. That's the bottom line. I don't want to hear nothing else. H-Town Creel says they always trade the wrong player since the Breeze era. T-Rob says, who that? Shout out to you, bro. Tuck says, Q, do you think Hayner or Rattler will back up Carr or someone else or somebody else? Well, Tuck, shout out to you first and foremost. Appreciate the question. Rattler obviously seems to be the talk of the town, but that's a diva position. You know what I'm saying? The QB position is a diva position to a degree, even though it's not as spicy as this year. It's spicier because Rattler's resume is better than what Hayner's was, and the fact that we're more focused on the philosophy switch, and we know that Clint Kubiak believes that Rattler could be the quarterback down the line that can run the system. Like we said, Derek Carr is 33 years of age. He even said so. He's the same age as Taysom Hill. So at some point you're looking at, plus he had those broken ribs, and you got a young offensive line, and hopefully the Saints run the ball and be smart about it and don't sit up there and try to throw it more than they run it, at least try to set up the play action. But I kind of see my thought process. I see Rattler as one of the quarterbacks. I still, for whatever reason, and it's because I know Dennis Allen's and Mickey Loomis is thinking, I think that some kind of way Nate Peterman is going to be one of the other quarterbacks, and I think Rattler is going to be the other quarterback, and Hayner more than likely is going to be a practice squad guy that they keep, and they can keep 4, but one to be a practice squad guy, and somebody just going to peel from off the practice squad, just like they did the guy we picked a couple of years ago, who we picked him up from Notre Dame, Ian Book, and now he's with Philly. So I mean that's how I think it's going to go. I really do think it's going to go like that. To be honest with you, I ain't kidding about it. I Miller 2L says the offense was whack. Then he apologized to our rivals coach when they're the Saint. He says when they're the Saints' most heated rival. That's why I don't believe he'll take this to the beast mode. Yeah, and I was saying that years that all of the disgusting, horrible losses we experienced, not one time Dennis Allen opened up his goddamn disgusting mouth and said to the Who Dat Nation, I apologize for all this failure. This is on me. That's not in him. That's why I don't like him. There is no accountability with this man. All these disgusting ass wins. I mean, these losses, pardon me, that we had and bad football that we experienced with all of the indecisiveness. Not one time he fixed his mouth to apologize for you for nothing because he felt like he didn't owe you no apology for stinking it up over the last couple of years, right? But then apologize to Atlanta. That's my talking point, bro. Kenneth says Q last season was more shady than Shooter McGavin trying to get Happy Gilmore kicked out. Yes, indeed. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. All right, what's happening, Ken? How you doing, man? Hindsight's always 2020. Not unless you got sight off top, bro. Hindsight, you're right. Hindsight is 2020, but shit, I was saying this before it happened. Bro, it's not hard to tell. It's not hard to tell, bro. It isn't. Really, it's not. It's not hard to tell, fam. You ask the family members in the chat, say, man, Q was saying this shit during the season, man. That's why I have this attitude about all of this, man. And they're like, realize, oh, we really, you know what, we need to do this. Like, man, I've been saying that shit for 2 goddamn years, man. 2 years. Because it's not hard to tell. It's not hard to tell. It's a certain rhythm and it's like most success. If you study successful teams, and if you don't know how to win and you see a successful team, how they operate, and we know it's a copycat league, they're going to copycat what they're doing. That's what the people were doing with the Saints. When the Saints were winning, they started emulating what the Saints was doing. That's why Atlanta came to New Orleans and got their personnel, started getting the administrators, because they say, man, New Orleans is having some success for 20 years. Not all those 20 years, but the offense was a top 10 unit, top 10, top 15 unit consistently for many years, despite the fact that people was trying to figure a way to slow Peyton down. He was always still able to turn out good numbers. But people's like, man, it's so much success there. We need to emulate that. And that's what you start seeing teams do. They start emulating the Saints style. They're not doing that no more. The Saints are not emulating. The Saints are not the trendsetters no more. They're now going somewhere and emulating somebody else. Did you notice that? Did you notice that? Think about what I just said, fam. Think about what I said. The Saints were trendsetters, man. For 20-something years, we set trends offensively and set records offensively. We're no longer trend setting. Now we got a follower running the team, and now we got a new philosophy. We took the 49ers philosophy, and now we want to live with that. Other stuff didn't work. Let's go with this. No, if you had an offensive coordinator with some balls that knew what the hell he was doing, then Sean Payton's offense would work here. It worked for 20 years. And you had a milquetoast Pete Carmichael, who then that's the problem with Pete Carmichael. He didn't have any balls. He was a beta. He was everything else but an alpha. He didn't call that offense with no intensity, nothing. I mean, it's a big deal. And if you run any system is liable to fail if you don't put the right amount of the proper perspective or the proper energy into it. So even though the 49ers have a brilliant system, if the Saints don't run it correctly, it could still fail too. It's just, man, I'm telling you, man, I recognize a lot of stuff, man, about this team. T. Will says, when Q said, get a defensive coach that said for Dennis Allen, bone to Alonzo, you guys twisted home. You got to put John. Yes, indeed. Shout out. I know, bro. I'll be getting buck on it, man. I'll be getting buck on them, bro, because, man, they deserve it, man. I'll be getting deserved because that's disrespectful, man. Apologize to the Atlanta coach, man. You've been stinking it up for 2 years here. Funky, stinky, trifling ass stuff. And we gonna apologize to him. Well, he was wrong. I'm apologize to him, but don't say nothing to you. Man, get the hell out of here, man. That man can go to hell, man. Ken says the most important thing to focus on is the offense understands and executes the new offense. Defense has to play top 10 defense for them to have postseason aspirations. Thank you, fam. Appreciate you. All right, brother Neville, shout out to you. Richard says after golf extension today, Carr pay is closer to his career production, but look at whether Chucky did with Rich Gannon. You can do it, but Clint has to see the limitations and work around it. Indeed, bro. See, Richard, listen, you make an interesting point because I was thinking about this too. That's why I said early in the broadcast, I don't know if you caught it, that I said, listen, Derek Carr is what he is. His ceiling is what it is. We've seen his ceiling. You're not going to see a better Carr than that. You're not, pun intended. You're not going to see him better. All you want Derek Carr to do is not make mistakes, hand the ball off and operate the play action. That's all they have time to do. They don't have time to fix all of his shit. I'm serious. I'm going to be honest with you. Because when the Saints hit the ground running, Clint Kubiak has to put together, he has to stall an offensive identity. That's number one, to find out, what are you, a passing team or a running team? He has to, and I would say go with the run, because your best group is the running back group. Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, and throw Taysom Hill in there. He's a running back. So you have those guys and you operate through that group, and then you get the running attack going. So the offensive line, you got to get those guys on code and then let Carr play action off of that. We don't have all this time. See, he has a small sample of time to get the offense productive. You see what I'm saying? And if he plays well, then he earns another year, because this is a trial year for Clint Kubiak. If they fail, man, they're going to sweep the room. They're going to sweep the room. You got to. And there's no guarantee that Mickey Loomis said, well, we fired Dennis Allen. Clint Kubiak is the guy. He might interview for the position. But when you moving forward, you don't want to bring in no inexperienced coach. You want somebody with a resume of success that know what they're doing after we had an inexperienced head coach. You don't want another inexperienced guy. And I've said this before. A lot of what I believe why the Saints don't want to get rid of Dennis Allen is tied to the money and the years. Now, I don't know how much money he's making. They had some old fake ass article out here from Sportskeeda talking about Dennis Allen making $4 to $6 million. We don't know how much money Dennis Allen's making, and we don't know the length of the contracts. That's the reality, because the Saints did not release that information. Anything that you're seeing out there is bullshit. All that out there is speculation, because they don't even come with any sourced information or any way you can go to. What's the source on this article? It's speculative. There's no solid, concrete information that pins that contract to Dennis Allen. We don't know how much the Saints are paying Dennis Allen. I believe that the reason why they're holding on to him is because if you have to fire that dude, you got to pay the rest of his salary. It's the same bullshit the Pelicans are going through. That's why they hired the cheap coach in Willie Green, because they fired Elvin Gentry when David Griffin got here 1 year in. They hired Stan Van Gundy, then fired Stan Van Gundy after 1 year, and then hired Willie Green. And then asked Willie Green if he was going to take the job with the Pelicans, that he had to take three or four or maybe five of the fired coaches the fired coaches' assistants onto his new onto his new coaching staff. Now, where you known that to be? If the new coach comes in, he gets to pick all of his other people. He couldn't take the job unless he decided, hey man, you got to keep these other people. What if I never worked with those people? Maybe what if I didn't like a couple of the people that was on the staff? You see, then you simply won't take the job. That's what Jock Vaughn did. Jock Vaughn said, nah, I ain't gonna take it, because they wanted Jock Vaughn. Jock Vaughn said, nah, I ain't doing that. Willie said, I'll take it. So, like I said, a lot of this ties to money, man. That's what I'm saying. Don't be surprised if what I'm saying is tied to that. And they kind of took the heat for 3 years, because the Saints operate like they're a cheap team. But what the problem with the Saints is that they banking out big time. Each year, Gail gets $1 billion richer from these organizations. She's the richest person in the state of Louisiana. And it's a reason to, because she paid very little tax. I know a lot of these people, economic situations, man, and these fraudulent little deals that they got going on with the state. It's bullshit, man. But in the end, it is what it is, man. I see all that, man. Slim says, Mickey said Dennis is a good coach. Yeah, he did say that, and that's cap, Tuck says, Q, I'm afraid that Hayner will be the odd man. I said that. I agree, Tuck. I agree. Ramsey says, who that Q? It's been, yeah, shout out to you, Ramsey. Good to see you in the chat, man. Bobbing with the Jones says we put Shaq Davis on the practice squad, and Philly got him. Philly got a bunch of our guys off the practice squad, bro. They got the little guy, the little running back, what's his name? From Louisiana Tech we had. They pilfered him. They pilfered Ian Book. They pilfered, what's the linebacker we had on the practice squad that they took from us? It was a good little linebacker we had. They took him off there. That's what Philly do. They look at the Saints practice squad and they pilfer a lot of their players consistently. They really do. Slim says, Q, will Taysom get some action at QB, or will his role change? Because I can see him playing like, Kyle Juszczyk from the 49ers. Hey, I hope so, Slim. I hope so. The Juszczyk thing, him as a QB, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go right now. And if Clint Kubiak's going to keep using that style of offense and still having him as a quarterback, I think I want to remember hearing something about that rather. But if you're if you're Clint Kubiak, I'm trying to use him like Kyle Juszczyk, because Kyle Juszczyk is a big part of what the 49ers did. And like we talked about, finding that guy, he's the same size and everything as Juszczyk. I thought Juszczyk was bigger than Taysom. No, they're the same size. They 6'3", 230 something odd pounds. And he's used to blocking, and he's basically a running back. Most of his production comes from him being a running back. So I would definitely love the Juszczyk thing. I'm not sure on the QB side of it. Slim, thank you, bro. Shout out to Night Ward Larry, brother Trine. What's up, brother Trine? Cartel, what's happening, fam? Appreciate you. T Rob says, Q, DA and his son can hit the road. I'm tired of losing games that we literally should have won. Indeed, fam. I'm really in my, and as y'all can see, it's kind of bittersweet with me. Like, I do like some of these moves. but I'm not fooled by none of this. And you see me a little aggressive right here because I'm passionate. And also don't like the BS, man, because a lot of it is insulting. It's insulting to your intelligence level, and you watching this stuff and they telling you stuff, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, man, that's bullshit, man. I don't get the vision where I just get blown away and I just all of a sudden hit it. Oh, the Saints are going to do this. Nah, you got to have evidence and something you can show me to make me see that you have improved on things that you struggled with last year. Just because you bring new personnel in here doesn't mean that what you was dealing with last year is going to change. Only results, you have to show results to say, because you changed these people, that is going to be a positive step. Just because you made the change don't mean the change is going to be changed in a positive way. The change could be changed to something worse than what it was originally. There is no way to tell until we get these guys here and we get a large sample size serving of things. Luckily, it's football, and football is supposed to be pretty much elementary. It's not a complicated thing, even though they make it like it, because they do silly stuff all the time. Sean says 8 wins or less, you reap what you sow. Richard says, I'll say DA is a great defensive mind, but he had to know that under Pete, it was not working. But like employees, you have to be diplomatic, but his leadership is questionable. Kubiak is the key indeed. Well said, bro. Tuck says, so you focus on run blocking for the O-line as opposed to pass blocking. Interesting. I mean, Carr would find it interesting. Yeah, but see, the thing, like I said, play action Carr to me would be the best bet on how things supposed to work, fam. I mean, because think about it. We don't have time for him to pick off. Remember how long it took for him to learn the system last year, fam? Come on. Remember this stuff. Remember all of this stuff. Don't let them people gloss over your mind. And I know it was terrible and a lot of people just wiped it out of your mind, but remember this stuff. They're like, man, well, how you have this perspective? Because I remember what happened in between the details of the season last year. I don't look at the season as a highlight. I don't do that. Well, I look at the season as it was, and I remember the details in between what was happening through those weeks. I remember the practices. I remember what was going on with the practices. I remember what's going on with the players. I remember what was going on with the coaches. I remember the interviews. I remember all this stuff. See, all that don't leave me when I start talking about the Saints in the offseason heading into a new season, because I understand that it's all about behavior. If you don't show that your behavior has changed, then how the situation is supposed to change magically on its own? Things change if you make them change, if you make the correct change, if you do what's correct. Now, you might have brought in a bunch of talent and new coaches, but you're still a head coach. You still have to implement accountability. You also have to step in when needed, even when not needed. Sometimes you got to step in. Hey, y'all, how y'all doing over here? Y'all doing all right over here? All right, let me go back over here. That didn't happen last year. All the year before that. Remember, this is his third damn year. It's not a rookie year for Dennis Allen. It's not. So that's my perspective. It's like, what have you done? I say this every offseason. What have you learned as a head coach to prevent what happened last year? Well, we got more talent. That's always the question. That was the same thing last year. We have talent. We've always, over the last several years, we've had the talent. Talent wasn't the issue. It's how we use the talent. and the guy that's sitting on top of the team, how he understands his team and how we use the talent. That's what it's about. Did that guy get any better? I always keep asking that. Q, did you hear the interview where Tyrann Mathieu was praising Diaz as a coach? Of course he praising him. That's the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, he praising him. Yeah, he praising, but Tyrann Mathieu he playing the game just like all of them played. He played the game just like all of them played. He ain't gonna come out and tell you the truth, bro. He getting paid. He ain't gonna tell you the truth. He ain't gonna come out and tell you the truth and mess his little old money up. Man, that's why I say a lot. You shouldn't be listening to all these when they get these entertainers and these athletes and throw their fucking ass in front of these cameras and asking about real issues that impact people of every day. They violate because them people ain't qualified to do that. Get somebody that know that's qualified, that studied that stuff, that know to talk about that. But a lot of times you got people that's like that get paid to have a certain opinion. They ain't gonna mess their money up to help you in no regard, to shed any light on you. Let's keep it real. Why should they? And I'm not, and if that's how it's only a special breed that would actually do that, like a Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, they took Muhammad's belt away from him when he said he wasn't going over there to fight them people. Why you ain't gonna send me over there? And they took his belt away from him and banned him from boxing. Man had to go overseas a little bit and do that. They stopped him from making his money as a boxer. Then there was an outcry about it, and he ultimately turned around. He had to come back and fight Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier whipped the piss out of him. Then he came back and beat Joe Frazier, a couple of more times and kind of went back into his thing. But man, it's only a special handful of people that will actually do that. You know what I'm saying? Not too many athletes nowadays going to do that. They're not going to stand up, even though and mess their money up. They're not going to do it, man. What's up, Farouk? Shout out to you, man. That's real deal right there, fam. What's up, KT? Shout out to you, man. What's up? Tuck says, I agree. I'm agreeing with you, Q. So we're in agreement. That's right. That we always in harmony, Tuck. Shout out to you. All right. Farouk says she worked on Tom Benson. Y'all should have heard her commencement speech. My sister got her master's. Okay. Shout out to that. L Dub says, yep, I think Boston Scott. That's him, Boston Scott. That's who he was, L Dub. I was thinking a little running back. All right. KT says, Rev Saint and I jumped Slick Mickey and Ross's. Dude thought he could sneak out with the Cajun turkey. Yes, indeed. You gotta watch out, KT. You better duck and cover, bro. Mickey keeps that thing on him. I kept telling you that. All right, H-Town says Q. DA Saints front office is outdated, bro. They operating in the early 2000s. Thank you, bro. Ken says, fact that the Saints beat Green Bay week 3, they make the playoffs. James Winston couldn't advance the ball in 30 minutes of football. Completely unreliable place kicker. They had a comedy of errors in that game, bro. 11 minutes of football is all they needed to do. They were up, what was it? Well, or what? I forgot whatever it was, but they were blanking them, and they came back, or maybe they had 3 points or something. I forget, man. I kind of erased some of that game out of my mind because to me, that was the worst win of the Saints loss, of the season. Was the Green Bay loss, was the worst one. And I was saying at the time, that's going to come back to kick you in your ass. And it did, because Green Bay gained ground. They were able to push past, and then the Saints looking at everybody saying, hey, we need work. We need somebody to help us out here win. And once again, it didn't work. Also, another loss I didn't like was the Minnesota loss, because they didn't even have a starting quarterback. They had a guy they traded for like a week earlier. And the man came in there and beat the Saints like they stole something. They ain't even have their top wide receiver or their starting quarterback. They beat the Saints. Saints say, okay, yeah, that was just a fluke. We got a bye. We're going to come back out. We're going to handle some business, because after the bye, you got Atlanta. Guess what happened? They lost to Atlanta. After saying they was going to make some changes. See, I don't forget, man. So you can't tell me anything, man. You can't tell me something. I'm going to throw it up in your face. Tell me the truth, man. Carr said, he says Carr didn't get going until the last couple of games of the season. To me, it seems that he's a slow learner, because typically it only takes QBs that I've seen the first few games of the season. H-Town says they have good defense talent, not the offensive line. All right. GM Kev's in the building, says Dennis still head coach. Or I mean, he's still. Yeah, the astronaut. Yeah, Tuck, the astronaut. Yeah, I forgot the man's name. Josh Dobbs. There you go. Josh Dobbs. I just thought about it. Dobbs was the quarterback. So in essence, what I'm saying is the whole thing, like in terms of the talent, the Saints defense, they got talent. I love some of the moves, but I say that every offseason. If you think about it, go back and listen to the show, all this stuff tape. Every offseason, like, that's a good move. That's a good move. The good move. And then the question after that, I would say, was, how do then the Saints take the talent from the offseason or the energy from the offseason and then bring that into the end season and translate it into wins on the football field? How do you then do that? That's up to the head coach. The head coach has to have the proper strategy, because even though we're looking at Clint Kubiak is only the offensive coordinator. You know, he's only the offensive coordinator. Dennis Allen is still the head coach of the football team. He still has to operate with some type of accountability. If things start to struggle over there, he has to go and get that together. But he's not gonna go and criticize Derek Carr when Carr struggles or fails, or tell him, man, you get it and get like a John Gruden would. John Gruden to cuss him out and all kind of stuff. He did it. And he said so. Then Derek Carr thanked him and said, I appreciate him doing it. Go listen to interviews, and he talking about Coach Chucky. In them 2 or 3 years we with John Gruden doing all that, John Gruden was cussing him out, fussing at him, because he was doing stuff he had no business doing. But that's a part of the game as a football coach, and ain't nothing new. If you played football before, coaches cussed at you. Yeah, they damn did. They fussed at you. Yeah, they cussed at you. When I was playing, they was cussing and fussing. The coach I had was cussing and fussing. He cussed and fussed his ass off. You know, I think, well, I got some of mine from him. You know, that's pretty much what happened. Probably, I ain't gonna say that. You know, but yeah, they cussed and fussed. That's what they do. Anybody that play sports and professional sports know that you're gonna get cussed and fussed at. Maybe nowadays it might not be as much as what it was when, you know, back in the day when we was doing it, but the coaches get on you. John Gruden's like Sean Payton. Sean Payton gonna cuss and fuss at you. He gonna do that if you do something wrong. And you don't want to be in John Gruden or Sean Payton's doghouse, because you get in the doghouse, boy, you in trouble. It's a real thing with those guys. But, you know, like I said, it's a different level of energy if you go from John Gruden to Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen will, you know, he's not a guy that's going to be over you. You know, he gonna let you do your thing, and if you fail, he gonna run cover for you. And Mickey Loomis, they're gonna do it too. Ain't nobody in there going to him, say, hey man, we got to fix this. We got to do better than this. Yeah, I hate to tell you this, man, but listen, we got to do this, that, and third. We need to change this. We need to change that. Ain't nobody thinking about that, because Mickey got 2 jobs. He's the VP first, and he operates like a VP more than a general manager, because he ain't hands on. During the off season, he working with stuff and doing all this, but during the in season, he ain't working on contract extensions all the time. He doing pretty much what he doing, sitting in there talking on the phone about business and stuff with the Saints. But in terms of like football related activities, man, when a general manager is supposed to be constantly paying attention to his team, if they have issues in there or player personnel concerns, you know, they need a general manager to take care of that. They need a guy that's exclusively dedicated to the interworkings of this team during the in and off seasons. And that's not Mickey Loomis. He basically almost retires when the season kicks on. He don't talk to no players. He don't iron out any wrinkles. If they got shit going on between players fussing at each other in the building, Mickey Loomis don't iron none of that out. He don't talk to them. He don't do it. The reporter said that. That's stupid. He even admitted that he doesn't do in-season evaluations. That's also stupid. That's dumb and lazy, man. I don't know if I would have told you guys, well, you know, I don't do any in-season evaluations. I'm just too emotional. And when I'm emotional when we win, and I'm emotional when we don't. I'm like, what? But see, he was comfortable enough to tell you that. You think Dennis Lucia heard that? That he paying him to be the GM, but he not doing any evaluation. You think Dennis heard that? Dennis heard that shit. Because he doing it too. He ain't doing no evaluation either. And neither is Gail. None of them people doing, and see, it's a lot of pressure on Clint Kubiak this year. He don't have time to sit up here and get Carr together. Carr is going to have to operate and complement to the running attack. I'm going to keep telling the same thing, because he got a lot to do. He got a young offensive line with 3 new starters, and two of which are tackles with a limited amount of experience. Matter of fact, Fuaga didn't have any NFL experience. He's a rookie. Penning has a few games there. You know, on the opposite side, you got your best offensive lineman in terms of your tackle. He's facing a career issue. So the offensive line for the Saints is a major point of emphasis. So he has to establish identity, has to get the running game going with the aforementioned issues, and then get Carr as a complement and teach him, because he said he got to teach him in phases. So he got to start off by running the ball. So we'll see how it all goes, man. And I hope the world for Clint, because he got a lot of pressure on him to turn this stuff around for the offense to get going. They got all the personnel. We have all the talent in the world. If we use it right, we should be able to win some games. We should be able to win some games if we use it correctly. We have to be able to use it correctly. And Dennis Allen has to improve as a head coach. He can't do what he did last year. And the year prior to that, he can't do the same stupid stuff. He has to be more proactive in his approach when he sees stuff happening, which requires vision. He has to be able to, if he sees something struggling, he has to be able to have an imagination to say, hey, let's switch this up and put this here and there. You're the head coach, not just over the defense. You have power over the offense as well. And I really do think Dennis Allen should turn over the play calling duties, defensively speaking, to his defensive coordinator, Joe Woods, and become more of an overseer of the team. I've been saying that as well. Focus on the whole team as opposed to sitting up there calling the plays, trying to do some shit like that. Just let that other man do that, and you focus like you're supposed to be doing on the entire team. Try that. Of course, he won't do it. Of course, he won't do it. He's going to keep doing what he's been doing. We'll see how it lasts. All right, Kevin says spot on cue, missing the intelligence from upstairs. No disrespect. Lucia's a football. He's a businessman. I'm telling you the truth, man. He's a businessman. He don't know all that about football. He defers questions about football field activities to Mickey Loomis. Mickey's the biggest football brain on the team, but Dennis Lucia is also the president of the Pelicans, and he don't know shit about basketball. He's a businessman. See, this is where your problem stems from, because Gail don't know very much about either of them either. She was an interior decorator. She dated Tom Benson. Now, he taught about the ownership side of things by taking her to the league meetings prior to him transitioning to hopefully the higher levels, But outside of that, he taught him that. He taught her that. But in terms of her knowing the football and basketball side of the game, she's more she comes off as more of an ambassador. Then, Gail is like an ambassador type, when it comes down to that. But she over relies on guys that her ex-husband gave her, and she needs to establish her own identity over these teams and not use his. His vision is not what it used to be. These guys that he left her are not this, they operated a little differently, because when Tom Benson was running the team, they wouldn't play all these foolish ass games and do all this stuff, talk like this, act like this. He would frown down on that. Mickey Loomis couldn't talk that elitist bullshit if Tom Benson was on the planet. He wouldn't dare talk like that. He wouldn't dare have these type of stances that he had. And I know for a fact that he wouldn't have those type of stances. So, it's a difference. So she has to establish her own identity over both these teams. She has to bring in her own people. Find somebody you trust that has the IQ, that knows about the football side, that was a former player. Try to see if you can find you a John Lynch type somewhere, on the football side. And, and I think Swin Cash should be a person that I think Swin, shout out to Swin. Swin she needs to have a higher position in the Pelicans organization, because she was a fantastic basketball player, and then she's an exec on the Pelican side. And she got fired to her, and she's honest. I think Swin should be elevated over the top of David Griffin. That's what type of people you put there, man, and run stuff like that. I'm just keeping it a buck, man. I know these teams. I know my team. I'm supposed to, All right, let me answer a couple of more, then I'm getting on up out of here. Trine says, Q, what's up, brother? Trine says, Big Q, you think we're going to get Trey Hendrickson? Absolutely not, bro. I would love to see Trey Hendrickson back, but Trey Hendrickson costs a lot of money, bro. And matter of fact, that's why he wants to get out of Cincinnati, because he wants more money. He wants more money, and the Saints can't pay Trey Hendrickson with they just signed Chase Young. So I don't think, and plus they got a couple years left of Cam Jordan. They gave him his money. They paid Carl Granderson a year or two ago, gave Granderson his money, and they still got a first and second round pick. They got to see what they can do. I think it's a bad time for timing in terms of what this is, but I'm going to say no to Trey Hendrickson. I don't think he comes back, because the Saints can't afford him. KT says, Q, nothing will change until it affects their bottom line. That's why I call for change, bro. That's why Kev said, keep it going. I hear you, Kev. H-Town says, Gail is an old lady stuck in her ways. Saints will continue to be bad. I'm not going to, listen, bro. I say truth talk, and I say truth talk not to demoralize you, but I say truth because truth's supposed to make you free. It's supposed to open up doors. It's supposed to open up your mind to other thinking. But I'm not going to use positive spin to lull you into a false sense of security about these teams. I'm going to keep it real about it. There are a lot of issues with these teams. And I think, and I would be very mindful of people using that kind of strategy to spin these cotton candy narratives like it's something that's supposed to be gone, and they are not telling you about the intricacies. Maybe they don't know about, because I mean, I kind of look at the team a lot differently, man. I've been doing this a while, but I know these people. I know what the problems, because there's a reason why. There's a reason why the Saints failed. There's a reason why the Saints failed the year before that, and the year before that. It's not a mystery. Every question has an answer. They all do. And when you research the team and you figure out what it is, you can find out. And it's not hard to tell, fam. Every offseason I go and I say, man, why did this team fail? And it's not a single answer. It's a combination of different answers, but they give you the right idea of what happened. And usually when a team failed, there's only a handful of people you can look at and see why they fail. And then you can look at the guy and say, that guy failed. He didn't do what he's supposed to do. But why didn't he do what he was supposed to do? What happened? And then you start breaking it down and going, like I'll be going, and you be like, damn, you done webbed it. You done put it together. How did you know that? Because I remember what happened. And I can then bring it to from that point of time, that juncture of time, to where we are now and make it correlate. I said, well, and then also, like, that's a big question as well. If this guy is going to take you to success land, did he fix the things that stopped him from winning the last couple of years? Most people always say, man, it was the talent or injuries. It wasn't talent. It wasn't injuries. It wasn't. If you are supposed to adjust every week in these games, because there's always pushing and pulling going on, you supposed to not only philosophies and play calling, but schemes, all this kind of stuff. You supposed to adjust. When you see your team, your players not playing well, you got to pull that guy out of there and put somebody in there, but you got to recognize it. You got to see it. And then you got to tell them, hey, listen, bro, you don't have it today. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on with you, but yeah, coach, I got in a little, I was, me and my girl got into, we was fussing. All right, man, well, you don't look like you got it, bro. Listen, I'm gonna need you to step it up, kind of concentrate on what's going on right now. And if you can't, I'm gonna have to pull you out there and put such and such in there. Okay. I'm gonna give you a chance. I just want you to let you know. All right, coach. Because nobody wants to lose playing time, because playing time's tied to the money. If you losing reps, more than likely you losing money. So it don't take much to slap people in, or to snap them into place or get them on code. The mere threat, it's not even a threat. It's like, listen, I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you a chance. And if you don't do it, I'm gonna have to take this away from you and give the opportunity to the next person. We need this. We need to handle our business here. We need these wins. This is serious. That type of thing. And that takes accountability. That takes vision. That takes attention to detail. That takes stuff that I haven't seen a lot of. And the same, because you playing up against teams that have the same things that we're talking about. They got high IQ. They don't make all of the mistakes that we make, the pre-snap penalties and the false starts, all this kind of nonsense. Remember all of last year, my mind is so good on this stuff that I can remember and recount last year, all of, like, at least 5 or 6 times a game there was plays, and I'm going to say at least 4 to 5 times a game where Derek Carr wasn't on page with his wide receivers. We was throwing the ball behind the wide receiver, throwing it ahead of the wide receiver, and the wide receiver running, and instead of taking wide receiver taking an out route, and he's then throwing one out, a slant route. Man, you was supposed to go out. Why you stopped and went back? Well, and it was all, at least 5 times a game, it was always him and his wide receivers not knowing where they were supposed to go with the ball. I seen that a lot every game until you got toward the back end of the season when they started to figure it out, because they started to run the ball and take it more out of his hands. The play action started to work and he got comfortable. But I seen those games constantly when Derek Carr throwing the ball to a place he thought his wide receiver was supposed to be. You see him pointing at the wide receiver or telling him and the wide receiver discussing on where they were supposed to be. That happened repetitively week after week. And I thought that was ridiculous. I thought you guys supposed to be practicing. How you having this amount of disconnect between wide receiver and the quarterback at least 4 to 5 times a game? That's not supposed to be happening if you're practicing like you say you're practicing. What we doing here? And y'all know it, y'all seen it too. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, bro, all that has to change, man. All that's got to change. Now you got a new system coming in here, but those things have to be ironed out as well. The pre-snap penalties, the miscommunication issues, people knowing where they're supposed to be. The accountability got to be very high because this is a tenuous and stressful situation that's about to happen. Because if Clint Kubiak doesn't handle his business, these people are going to be fired. They're going to lose their jobs. The head coaches anyway. And the staff, and the Saints will have to go back into free agency see if they can find another coach. They have to get this together, and that is what I remember. That's truth talk. You supposed to remember that. Don't throw all of the truth away so we can live in some fairy cotton candy ass land about what the Saints gonna do. Don't be delusional. I mean, some people, I guess they have to be like that, man. I don't know, man. But I often was taught that truth's supposed to set you free. No, truth is supposed to set you free. It's sweet in the mouth and sour in the belly. That's what my grandma and my uncles used to tell me. And that's pretty much what that means is, when you digest the truth, it's kind of sour there, but at the end of the day, the truth is supposed to be a cure. It really is. So that's how I approach the game. I keep it 100% real with you about all this. Is all on Clint. And Clint has to fix all these things that we had problems with that prevented us from winning a couple of games last year that could have got us in the playoffs. The Saints stopped themselves. That's the thing. The Saints shot themselves in the foot with all this other stuff. They really did. If they were on code, a lot more discipline, we could have won at least 3 games more last season because the Saints let several of these games last year get away from them. So, like I said, I have to see more of it. The accountability angle from Clint Kubiak and the rookie minicamp was something small. It's positive, but I want to see more to see if that sticks, if we can translate that and keep that going. All right. Kevin says, Q, we have an issue. $150 million QB is supposed to be able to carry the team. He ain't going to be able to carry the team, brother. I'm just going to be honest with you. And the man, and Clint Kubiak knows that. Clint Kubiak, when they asked him about the offense, he said, we got to establish an identity. We got to run the ball. He didn't say nothing about passing the ball. They asked him about Derek Carr later. He gave him some platitudes and compliments like he's supposed to. But in the end, the Saints have to run the ball. The key to the Saints' success is running the football, bro. They got to get the offensive line together. And Carr operates off the back. I'm pretty sure you'll forget the $150 million once that running game and the play action starts kicking in. His numbers will go up. Really, truthfully speaking, Carr's numbers last year, man, he should have been over 4,000 yards. He should have had like 30 touchdowns last year, to be honest with you. So I mean, like I said, they over relied on Derek Carr to a fault. He really didn't. Like early on, he didn't know the system like that. Saints out there, he tore up after the Green Bay game. They got him throwing the ball 40 times a game. So stupid, man. I just don't understand, man. That shit's not hard, man. You don't do that to the quarterback, man. The guy busted up like that. You do something else, even if you got to switch things up. And those guys wasn't running well. That's why we should have switched things up. But ultimately, it is what it is. Julius says, "What's the chance that we have 5 new starters on the line?" Not 5 new starters, Julius. Unless injury kicks in. I mean, I guess injuries will play a part. But in terms of us starting, I guess if you could say Penning is a new starter because he started before. I guess I can throw him in there because he didn't really do nothing with the starts. But yeah, with eventually Penning and Fuaga, obviously, with Ali Udo, that's 3 guys right there. And of course, our center is McCoy with Ruiz. So I would say 3 versus I don't see 5 unless injuries hit, bro. So H-Down says, Q, you can't win with a team that doesn't respect the coach. Well, more than half of the team respects the coach, right? So the talking point or the optic, let's just say it like that. The optic is this: you're a top 5 cornerback, right? They had something going, and we won't notice until he's gone. It probably won't hit until after he's gone and into the next off season after they traded him. Then you're gonna hear all this come out. It'll be an interview after the end of this season. After Lattimore get traded, probably to the Texans, it's going to end up in the AFC. I'm thinking it's going to be the Texans. Could be the Texans. Going to be somebody. Might be the Chargers. Could be Denver. In the end, it could be. I think it's between. I would probably think it'd probably be the Texans or Denver. That's why I'm thinking. I'm just pulling that instinctually because it makes sense for Sean Payton to want to get his guy back. And what else would Mickey Loomis do but send him out to Payton? Wouldn't that be so typical? But the answer is you traded Lattimore. Lattimore is the loudest vote. Well, you didn't hear him say anything about Dennis Allen, but we knew there was fractures in the locker room. All this going to come out probably next year when he gets signed to his next team, and somebody going to interview him about the Saints next offseason, and he going to tell you what happened. Watch. That's how it happens. That's how it happened. He ain't going to tell you if he when he gets traded and they talk about it, he going to give love to New Orleans and all this. He ain't going to even talk about it. But it'll happen next offseason with his team. It's the same thing. And he gonna tell you about everything. Because if Dennis Allen fell, he'll be gone, and he gonna throw it out there. What made what happened? We already know. Now, what was said, we don't know what was said, but we know something was said, and we know obviously that the biggest opponent to Dennis Allen what had to have been Marshawn Lattimore because they put reworked this contract late November, right? Somewhere along up in there to make him tradable for this point. And we were still playing football games at that time. So you rework his contract to be traded in the offseason. What was going on like that? It was also a fracture that was happening that Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen said there was no fracture. So they lied to you about that. Oh, there is no fractures. That's just a bunch of poppycock. There's no fractures. That's crazy talk. That's just something they made up. That, there's no fractures, but you trading your top 5 cornerback. What happened? What he said. See, they're not saying none of that. It'll come out. It always comes out. But the optic is this. Once he's traded, that lets the players that know on the team that still don't like Dennis Allen, that if you don't agree with Dennis Allen, you're going to get your ass traded too. We traded Lattimore, top 5 cornerback. Don't think we won't get you out of here too. See, that's the optic that is set in place once this goes through, because it's going to happen, which is stupid because I wouldn't trade the guy because Lattimore fits with what we're doing. We brought him up. He really shouldn't go nowhere, and he's upset because the team has failed over the last couple of years. And if you ain't upset about failure, then you a dumbass. That means you just there collecting the check. And I don't want them type of players here. I want my player to be upset and mad that we're not winning because I'm upset that we're not winning. I want him to feel like I feel in many regards. I'm disappointed in the Saints' progress over the last couple of years. As you can see, I am disappointed about the Saints' process, not lack of progress, of not making into the playoffs despite the fact that they've had loaded teams. I'm very disappointed about that. I am. I'm disappointed by a lot of shit. So I can understand how Lattimore feeling when they getting it up close and personal, watching Dennis Allen sashay around there talking crazy and doing what he doing. I feel his pain. You dig? So at the end of the day, I understand exactly what's going on, man. Because they won't tell you, well, we're just trading. Why you trading him, bro? Why y'all trading him a top 5 cornerback? They bring up his injury history. They always bring up injury histories. They ain't going to say nothing. Well, you see, Dennis Allen pissed him off. Well, yeah, keep it real with you. Dennis Allen pissed him off. That's what really happened. He pissed him off because, he did some, he was losing over the last couple of years. And lad, he's a winner. He just, and coaches got to win to gain the confidence of their team, That's pretty much what it is. And Dennis Allen, he failed in that regard. So Laddie was upset, and we're going to trade him. He doesn't have a right to be mad at Dennis. Dennis is the head coach of the team. Dennis can burn the damn building down. And if Lattimore says you're wrong, don't burn the building down. We'll trade his ass. And it's just stupid. You want players that's upset that the team is failing. You want that. That means they care about winning, man. They care about winning. It is, man. All right. Q says L-Dub says Q, you definitely be knowing what you be talking about. It's like your scientist professor when talking about the team. Bro, listen, man. Like I said, I've been doing this podcast for a while, bro. I do it the same thing with the Pelicans, LSU, boxing, because a lot of stuff. I played football, I played basketball when I was in high school. I did some boxing and stuff when I was younger in the police leagues. We did all that kind of stuff. So I got a love for sports. So I approach it a certain way. Like These are my clubs, like the Saints, Pelicans. These are my clubs. So when I approach it, I don't just approach it like a person, well, it's like wins and losses. It's the reason why we lose in these games. So I look at the personnel, I look at their resumes, I look at how they, their schemes and stuff like that. We get into it. And like I said, I created the Great Saint Think Tank. It's a think tank. And we are all like football scientists in this thing going through it. Man, there ain't nothing like the Great Saint Think Tank, fam. It ain't nothing like the Great Saint Think Tank, fam. It ain't nothing. Look, I'm rocking the T. There ain't nothing I represented. It's a brain with a brain on top of a tank. It ain't nothing like the Great Saint Think Tank, man. Ain't nothing like the Great Saint Think Tank, man. Nothing. The Great Saint Think Tank, they got it together, baby. They be whipping them. And the Great Saint Think Tank take regular Who Dat members and they convert them over, graduate them into the Great Saint Think Tank, because they approach the game different. They don't approach it from a fanatical standpoint. They approach it from a logical thought process. And when you do that, boy, you decipher it and you're breaking it up. When you start looking at it like I look at it, and how a lot of people do, if you actually have a think tank. Think tanks is where a lot of the great ideas come from in society. But they got a lot of dumbass think tanks too out there. I ain't gonna lie to you too. A lot of back ass think tanks. But the Great Saint Think Tank is the truth, Brown. Bottom line, the Great Saint Think Tank is the truth, man. Bottom line. All right, Julia says, if you say, I say you and Mickey should fight for the GM position. Nah, I don't want it, bro. Oh no, I don't want the GM position. I just don't want Mickey Loomis to have both those positions because it's stifling the team. Mickey, I think he'll be a great VP. I've said that. Mickey Loomis is a fantastic vice president of football operations. Don't get it twisted. He is a fantastic vice president of football operations. Terrific. But he is not a very good general manager anymore. He's not. And you need to split those positions up. You need to make somebody else the general manager and let Mickey be a VP, because he's blurring a line between both. The VP acts more VP-ish in terms of like during the season when his doors close and all this kind of stuff. I think you need to split that up, bro. Get that job to somebody else. But he's an excellent vice president of football operations. He's just not a good general manager anymore. He's not. And he has never been a great general manager. What you mean by that, Q? A lot of what I'm saying is a lot of what was going on success-wise with Mickey Loomis was Sean Payton. Sean Payton was telling Mickey Loomis what to do. Sorry, fam, I'm kind of fighting through a cold. But a lot of what was happening with Sean Payton was excuse me. All right, I'm about to get up out of here. I'm starting to cough a little bit, but a lot of what's happening with that was because Mickey Loomis was listening to Sean Payton. Sean said, give me this dude, give me that dude, give me that guy, and Mickey Loomis would make it happen, even if he couldn't afford it. So he became really good at cooking the books and kicking the can. And the thing about it was he wasn't apprehensive about doing it. Like, man, I don't think we should do this because such and such, such and such. He believed in Sean Payton, which is fine. Sean Payton has a resume. You're supposed to believe in Sean Payton. He has a great resume with you. But Dennis Allen is not Sean Payton. He doesn't deserve the same amount of trust. That's where he's failing at. He's evaluating these guys like they're the same. He's left Dennis Allen to do this. Like Dennis Allen has a track record of success as a head coach, and he doesn't. See, that's the problem. See, it's supposed to be a line right there. A good general manager would have known the difference. A good GM would have known the difference. Because that's why I say we need another person at that position. He's a fantastic VP. Don't get it twisted. But in terms of the general manager, his time's up on that, man. What's up, Jay Black? My dog, Jay Black says, Q. Lots of the fam said 10 plus wins and play. I know, bro. And I hope so, man. I'm a rock with the fam, man. I sincerely, I really don't know. I'm going to be honest with you, fam. I'm not going to tell y'all mine right now because I really don't know. I can't tell you how many wins they're going to get because I need to see more. I need to see more of what the Saints are going to do. I really can't. I'm just being honest. I can't tell you one way or the other. Julius says, actually subbed after you said that. Okay, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you, Julius. Appreciate you being here, man. All right, KT says Q, ask Mickey how his job is. Nah, KT, he ain't gonna talk. Oh my God, that was the guy. Let me see that picture. That was the guy. Oh my God, that guy right there. I was like, man, what are you talking about? I don't even eat turkey. I'm a vegetarian. I eat clam chowder and orange juice. That guy was blaming me. I said, man, I'm 60 something years old. I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to start shooting in this son bitch. You know, that's him right there on that picture. That's him right there. Oh my God. All right, Greg, what's up, fam? 100% agree. Thank you, fam. Tim says, Q, do you think we're done at safety? That's a good question, bro. A lot of articles coming out. People are trying to wish the Saints into a safety, man. They get a safety, but like I said, unless the Saints get, I mean, there's still time. I don't think it'll be one of these big names. Say a lot of people trying to throw Jonathan Simmons. Jonathan Simmons don't work for cheap, bro. A lot of people want him in one of these. When they talk about safeties, they talk about like the top 3 veteran safeties. Saints ain't gonna go for no top 3 safeties. Like we got Will Harris. A lot of people are like, seriously, did anybody see the Saints signing Will Harris? When we talked about safeties, a lot of people was thinking about Simmons and a couple other guys. They weren't talking about Will Harris. So in terms of veteran safeties like a Simmons, man, I don't think so, bro. Because of the money. The money, matter of fact, let me do this right quick before I get on up out of here. Let me take a look over here at something here. Hold on. Let me take a look. Show something right quick. Because the Saints signed most of their rookies, and this is what over the cap is reporting the team's money is right now. Take a look at that. Saints cap space right now, almost 6 million, 5.9 plus. Right? They were at 8, just over 8 something, about 3 to 4 to 5 days ago. But after the signing of, contracts and whatnot, this is the money that they have. Almost 6 million left. And then I still believe the Lattimore trade will go through. That'll give them an additional 4 million, which will boost them up to almost 10 million, after the Lattimore trade. Because I don't think they're doing a player for player trade. I think they're just going to trade him for a pick, maybe like a day 2 pick, a second round pick, something like that. And they'll just take the pick and the money and add that to the cap. 4 this year, 11 next year, something like that. So now, if it's gonna be a safety, it's gonna be a cheap one, bro. I don't see them signing an expensive Jonathan Simmons, bro. I just don't see that, man, because the money don't work. English says, get a mouth full of gum Q. Yes. I gotta give you a clap on that one, bro. Man, I can't even cough right, man. I mean, I can't laugh right, man. Man, that was awesome, man. Get a mouthful of gum Q to help with that cough. Yeah, that would have been a good time to do an experiment to see if that would have stopped me from coughing, man. Oh, man, that's crazy, man. All right. Yeah, that's funny, man. What's up, B Jizzle? How you doing, my brother? How you been, man? Yeah. All right. No, absolutely not. KT, Justin Simmons is expensive, man. Justin Simmons ain't gonna work for cheap. Justin Simmons gonna cost you some paper, bro. You ain't gonna sign Justin Simmons for no cheap money, man. He ain't worked cheap all his damn career. He ain't gonna do that just to come to the Saints. Hold on, let me see. What he made, I mean, he made big money. I don't think he's gonna get what he got from last year, but still in all, let me see what his contract was from last year. He ain't gonna get what he got, but he still ain't gonna work for no cheap money. Like, this man was making shit last year. He made 14.5, almost $14.5 million a year. He ain't gonna get nowhere near that. That's what I'm saying, man. He ain't gonna make 14 million this year. But even if you say half, like if you say Justin Simmons say, man, I work for half of that. He ain't coming in at half of that 7 mil. The Saints, they can't afford Justin Simmons, bro. Look, here goes Simmons right here. Look at his money for 2023. Last year, $14 million this man base salary was. And then, prior to that was 15. So, I mean, ain't no way in the world, even if you say we'll give you half, that's 7. Justin Simmons, and even I would probably say he would probably go somewhere for like between 5 to 7 million or something like that. Yeah, that's the reason why he's still available now, because he ain't taking nothing devalued right now. But as the season get closer, if you can get Justin Simmons between 5 to 10 million, you might be doing nothing. But both of those things seem to be out of the place of them anyway. Jay Black said, I hope Willie Green is paying attention to the coaching of these players. Yes, indeed, bro. Yeah, Jay Black. We're gonna talk about it on the Pelican post game report this upcoming Friday, bro. We're gonna open up the stream. We're gonna talk some more stuff. A lot of stuff going on in the Pelican world, bro. Shout out to my dog Jay Black, man. Vibing, yeah, damn, yeah, the coughing, yeah, I couldn't even cough right, fam. That was pretty funny. All right, H Town says Q Texans trade Jalen Petrie for Lattimore. That's actually pretty solid. That's intriguing, H Town, man. Let me see what Jalen Petrie. I don't think I like that, but I don't think that's what they're gonna do. Because what is his salary? Yeah, he just makes like what? 2023, 24. Okay. Well, I don't know if they're comparative. His base salary is 1.5. Lattimore's deal. What is Laddie Daddy's deal, man? It's a shame, man. We even talking about this. I'm gonna look at this and I gotta roll. That's sad, man. Yeah, his money is like 1.5 million he getting paid this year. And Lattimore's 24 money. Well, it's a base salary to 1.2, so it's comparative. But in the end, I don't think the Saints they're gonna take any player. I don't think they're gonna take a player for a player trade with Lattimore. I think they're gonna just settle for a draft pick because they need the cap. They need the cap relief. I think that's what's going on there. All right. And then finally, Tim says, Q, do we get more cap space after June 1st? Yes, you do. You get $4 million once the Saints once the Saints trade away Lattimore, you're gonna get $4 million this year and $11 million, next year once they trade Marshawn Lattimore. I'm thinking probably the Texans or the Broncos, or the Chargers, somebody like that. He gonna end up in the AFC. They're not gonna trade him in the NFC. But yeah, Laddie Dad, in my opinion, he's gone, fam. I did a whole show covering that, gave my reasons behind it. I'm like, man, they're gonna get this. They're gonna trade him. People like, nah, Q, they not. Put a poll up. People like, a lot of people said no, they ain't gonna trade him. I said, y'all are in for a huge surprise, because June 1st they can't do it right now because they got to wait to after June 1st. That's the line. I gave you the timeline. It's a real timeline that you need to start paying attention to. When June 1st hit, then you be watching the Saints with Lattimore, because they can't do it right now. Any trade right now would put them in the minus right now. So they got to hold on to him. As soon as June 1st hit, the timeline is between June 1st and the start of the year. And that's when you're going to see some traction happen with Lattimore. You're going to see them. June 1st to the start of the year. That's when it's going to happen. All right. So anyway, with that being said, fam, I was supposed to be in here for like 20, 30 minutes. But as always, I love to talk to the family members about the Saints, man. Listen, it's truth talk, man. Truth talk is it's good to be excited about. Like, not too excited. I don't want y'all to get y'all hopes up too bad. Like people got their hopes up last year with the Saints, and then they got slammed down. But I don't want y'all to do that to yourself. So kind of temper your expectations, you know what I'm saying? And kind of pay attention to not just the movements of the teams, but how the coaches are sounding. Have some of these coaches, like had Dennis Allen, fix certain things about his game that's kind of prohibiting the Saints from stepping it up to the next level. How's his philosophy in terms of that accountability? Are they talking about that? Clint Kubiak, how accountable is Clint Kubiak? How disciplined is Clint Kubiak? That type of stuff we need to start paying attention to moving forward, because that's some of the stuff that kind of hampered us last year from taking it to the next level. If we'd have been half, I guess more, I want to say, I guess, lack of better words, would have been more, just by half more accountable last year, we would have been in the playoffs, because we'd have made the changes. We'd have made the coaching changes. We'd have switched up the offensive coordinator if we needed to. Let somebody else call the plays. Switch the offensive line coach around. We'd have done something, to kind of spark something with the offense, something, adjustments. And we'd have done just a little bit more. We could have seen a 2-game difference. So we have to kind of temper our expectations with the Saints, because every year we get talented players in here. Every year we do. Every year we get talented players in here. It's all about how they take these players and implement them into the system and win games. That's what it comes down to. So I want you to kind of temper your expectations, be excited, but at the same time, understand who you're dealing with here. This is not exactly Bill Belichick walking up in this son bitch. This is still Dennis Allen. We need to see if Dennis Allen has gotten better as a coach, leading these men to a playoff, something he's never done before. So although I don't have any faith in Dennis Allen, I do have faith in Clint Kubiak, because I've been studying Clint Kubiak's game and looking at some of his old interviews. I like how he talks. I kind of deem him as a serious personality about his business. That offense is not just something he picked up from somebody. That's the offense, his philosophy, his family business. So he knows it like, your family history, your lineage and all this. He knows that stuff. So that, how he applies it as a teacher. He has some really good situation that he was in. So I want to see what he can do. I'm really going to be kind of focusing on Clint Kubiak. He's the answer to everything that's successful in terms of the Saints offense, because we're going to have to score some points. We're going to have to do some stuff. I think the defense will be okay. Special teams will be okay. But the offense, man, I just want to see what Clint does. And I got faith in him. I'm more positive based on some of the research I've done with him in these previous stops. Can he bring half of that here and see what we can do? So it's going to be interesting, man. So anyway, with that being said, let me see if I'm going to take a look at the poll right here. Well over 150 people voted in the poll, and 51%, a resounding 51% of the pollers said the Saints win 10 wins and get in the playoffs. Okay, fam, shout out to you guys. 20% says 9+ wins playoffs. 11% says 9 wins, no playoffs, and 18%, which is the third highest total, says 8 wins or less, which obviously no playoffs. So good poll right there is 51% of the 150 plus people that were polled said that they believe the Saints will have 10 wins in the playoff berth. I sincerely hope so, family. I'm tired of not being in the playoffs. I'm tired of all of this, man. I want to see the Saints get in the playoffs and do some damage, man. Just don't get in there and get blown out like the counterparts the Pelicans did. Get in there and make a little noise while you're there. You know what I'm saying? Do something. Jay Black says, did DA do his coaching? I don't know, Jay Black. That's what we got to figure out. I don't know, my friend, but that's a good question. H-Town says, Kubiak's off the Shanahan tree, run the ball, set up the pass. I'm for that. I've been preaching that. Hopefully we can get that. Jack said, what's up, Jack? Offense will be better, but it will be a process. Indeed. 2 rushes, I know, 2 rushes, first down, baby. Remember that shirt? Julius says we should win the division. Yeah. I mean, we do what we're supposed to, bro. We will. All right. So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna get out on that. I'm just gonna ask everybody in the family, if you don't know already, a lot of family already know about our sports website, thewhothatdaily.com. We cover the Saints, Pelicans, LSU. What else we cover? We got entertainment. We just brought on a entertainment contributor. We got our own sports site, man. We doing boxing. We got contributors, man. Shout out to all of our contributors, man. Turning in articles. The whothatdaily.com is our platform. It takes for all the different platforms we have, all of the stuff that we got doing. It's more than just the Sports Coma. It's the Pelican Post Game Report, Ring Kings Boxing, Tough Tiger Talk, and a lot of other stuff that's going on. All is headquartered at our website, thewhothatdaily.com, with articles posted daily. So we got a lot of contributors over there, man. We are force. Independent media, fam. Back to independent media, man. And know the difference between independent media and people that's not independent media, okay? Know the difference. Please recognize the difference and support and hoist up independent media to the best of your abilities, for real. Because it's the counterbalance, the narrative. It's up to you guys. Counterbalance the narrative. Share the articles. Sign up for the newsletter. Do stuff to help empower that media. It's for you guys, and I'm from up under you guys. I'm from out of there. I represent the great Saint Think Tank and the Who Dat Nation. So I'm one of you. So, let's work together on this endeavor. We're doing it for like 4 to 5 years, man. We got a lot of really solid contributors there, and we put in that work, man. I'm so proud of all these people and all this. And shout out to the family members that helped us to build this beautiful and powerful platform. The WhoDatDaily.com's been out for about 5 years now, and we've been, putting in that work. So if y'all want to help us out by sharing some of the articles, please feel free to sign up for the newsletter. Sign up, and share the articles, man, and help independent media. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to have that. But anyway, I'm gonna get out on that, man. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. I will return tomorrow on Patreon, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. We'll have a show breaking down that. Tomorrow we'll be back on our Patreon Tuesday, man, and we'll talk some more Saints, among other things. So with that being said, I'm out on that. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all. Quit.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network. WhoDatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoDatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoDatDaily.com is your site. The WhoDatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the pro shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the